red flag in FP3 today. What can Sauber do? Nico Hülkenberg going well, getting himself into the top 10 in FP3. He hasn't got into the top 10 so far this season, into Q3, the only full-time driver who's done every single qualifying session not to make it into Q3.
And with all 20 cars out there, Liam Lawson sounds like he's going to make it. According to Ted, which is great news, we, of course, will expect to see traffic issues, cars slowing up, trying to make a gap, others, so that car's not actually officially in the pit lane till the tyre goes over the white line, but you're not allowed to impede anybody else. So if they won't let you in the queue, then, and look at this, this is a very kind, no, I thought he was going to let somebody in.
Tudor, born to dare.
When we go racing tomorrow, all they need is one podium or both cars in the top 7, and that Constructors' title is theirs. And this is Liam Lawson. We're on board with him. He is waiting to get out. It's a brilliant job by the mechanics to fix his racing balls, so you can ride on board with Liam Lawson too, should you wish. And we've got all 20 on boards available for you, and the team radios too. You need to go to your Sky Sports app, use your Sky Sports login, and you can choose Max Verstappen, Liam Lawson, whoever you want. If you are watching on Sky Q, Sky Stream or Sky Glass or Now, use the interactive button on your remote control. It's a thumbs up from Will Joseph. He is ready. Lando Norris is ready, and he's making his way down the pit lane now. Q1, where we lose the slowest 5 after 18 minutes. Q2, after 15 minutes, we lose the next slowest 5. And then Q3, it's the battle for pole position.
And this is absolutely not a track you want a slipstream from anybody like you would in Azerbaijan or Monza. You don't want to be anywhere near other cars, turbulent air, as you're trying to find some grip through the 90-degree lane changes, the block changes that we have here in Singapore.
So here we go then for qualifying tonight. I've never seen as many fans here at the Marina Bay circuit as I'm seeing this year. So much excitement around this place. It's an incredible spectacle when the lights are on, all 1,600 illuminating bulbs around the track. The colours of the cars really come to the fore and they shine. Lewis Hamilton, you might have been with us in FP3. You'll have heard, of course, that he had to go and see the stewards for an infringement during the red flag period where he was slowing down, increasing his speed and then attacking the pit lane entry. No further action by the stewards for that. They've decided it might have been a touch aggressive, but not too much.
Yeah, Lewis pushing his luck, but actually did not breach the rules, and he races on, because that could have been a 10-place grid drop, which is absolutely awful here in Singapore. But now it's all about the big focus on spotting the braking points. Absolutely. Getting off the brakes, actually, is as important as getting on them. Stealing a bit of track on the way into turn 1. There's some dust as well that he was kicking up there, and that looked a little bit challenging for the first 3 corners for Lewis Hamilton.
It certainly does. On his way he goes. Only Russell, Antonelli, Ocon, Behrman and Alonso not on the track.
And he's backed off. Lewis Hamilton has backed off after that little drama between 1 and 2.
So that will carry on to Lewis Hamilton. He'll have to go again on a set of tyres that aren't at their 100% best, and that is one of the reasons he had to back off.
First corner and Lewis is off track.
So we're a few minutes, nearly 4 minutes into this qualifying 1 session. We welcome our viewers on Sky Sports main event who've been enjoying the action of the WSL. Well, it's the action under floodlights now here at the Marina Bay circuit that we switched to, and we're on track with Carlos Sainz, podium finisher for Williams at the last race. What can he do this evening? Very good middle sector for Carlos Sainz, 38.3, the best we've had so far. A 1:31.5 from Lance Stroll is the time to beat. Nope. Alex Albon's already beaten that by just under 1/10 of a second. Sainz is Williams' teammate. Round the final couple of corners we go, and it's foot to the floor, and already a yellow flag as Sainz goes fastest overall. But where is that yellow flag? And was it caused, I wonder...
We're underway again.
Yeah, we're underway again. Just briefly, I think someone going off turn 7, turn 9, around that area.
Yeah, So often the drivers struggle to match their free practice 3 time on the first time out. There's not been a lot of track action to upset the racetrack, but you've got to leave. You've got to get a time on the board, go as hard as you can, but you'll find they gain confidence then as they go through these sessions.
Gabriel Bortoletto, the rookie, who's out-qualified his teammate Nico Hulkenberg in the last 7 races, goes now 4th fastest because Isaac Hadja, who's tipped for a Red Bull seat for next season and has been very impressive as a rookie this year, has gone to the top of the standings, 10th ahead of Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari.
Load of oversteer there from Lando Norris, but kept his foot in, spinning up the rear axle and takes the curve nicely, not too much of it. The wall comes up on the right-hand side. Now open the steering and puts a 1/4 of a second.
Where is Max? Finally some F1. Yes, bro.
I was just about to say,
Max going second fastest.
1/4 of a second, you know, it could be a decent margin.
Max on his fastest
here
lap
tonight. Verstappen already finding time through the middle sector on his first flying run. I think Andy Cowell was saying this, the CEO and team boss of Aston Martin. Whilst the track improves as the rubber lays down and the times come tumbling down with it, driver confidence improves around a street circuit too. So you see more and more improvement as the drivers get really dialed in. And 2.5 tenths now separating Verstappen and Norris at the top.
First blood to Verstappen.
Let's go! Let's go, Max!
McLaren.
Max on top.
Let's see, we saw B-Bal there. That's brake balance changing for each corner, so you don't either lock the front or rear, whatever your particular challenge is. In the Ferrari going up through the gearbox, he's in 7th, 8th now, and let's see how many he needs to come down as he goes into the corner. Just down to 4th gear, he carries a lot of speed through there. Final 2 corners coming up. Let's see. And that was quite a lift-off, wasn't it?
It certainly was, just to make sure. I mean, he goes 2nd fastest, Lewis Hamilton. At least he's now got that lap on the board, Martin. Oscar Piastri made a mistake in the middle sector and abandoned his first flying lap. He's come in to the garage, as you can see there. No time set for Oscar Piastri, and he's used a set of tyres that don't count for anything.
He's put himself under pressure already then, so it's down into turn 1. We've got a car ahead of us. Is this going to be a lock-up?
Yellow flags. Oh man, come on. You can't give a yellow flag for someone getting out of the way.
Yeah, he's right. He's right. That car was just getting out of his way. Now it's wrecked his lap. Hasn't wrecked his tyres. But basically, because that car ran deep on the outside to get out of the way, he's been given a yellow flag. He's right. That's unfair. That's... Unfortunately, the marshals are just doing their job specifically and rightly, but there has to be a level of sort of common sense that goes into that.
It's difficult, isn't it? And the marshal will be sat there at the marshal post thinking, all right, car off the track. Nope, yellow flag could be a problem. But you're right, there are differences between going off deliberately or accidentally.
We see it a lot. We see them going through the middle of the chicane to get out of somebody else's way. And that should not. But, you know, how are you going to have somebody on a flag that can make that judgment between an incident and somebody just getting out of the way?
Drama already here in Singapore, and whilst Oscar Piastri on the back foot, Ollie Behrman on the front foot. Rookie here, first time in Singapore for Ollie Behrman, and he's gone 2nd fastest, ahead of Hamilton, ahead of Norris. Hamilton, a 4-time pole sitter here, and just behind Max Verstappen, and ahead of George Russell, who puts in a lap to get in P3. That's a stonking lap there from Ollie Behrman.
It's incredible. It's the smallest team in Formula One using the Ferrari power unit, and there it is at the moment.
Let's go.
2nd place. Brilliant.
Finally something good.
Wasn't it here this time last year? Nico Hulkenberg using a Ferrari power unit at Haas was the fastest of the Ferrari qualifiers. Colapinto a little bit off the pace as he tries to get out of the bottom 5. Oscar Piastri has gone out again on a new set of soft tyres. He has to, Martin. Can't take any chances here.
No, that's bad news for Oscar Piastri, and through no fault of his own at all there. Look, this is where the traffic slows down, some coming in the pits, some trying to find a gap, but you're carrying incredible speed through that corner. And Colapinto pops it in to the top 10 for now.
So Colapinto up into 8th place. Esteban Ocon saying he's got a problem with his seatbelts, which you certainly don't want around here. 10 braking zones here, 4 of which are described as heavy. And we're on board with Lewis Hamilton. This is an absolute blur going through this section. Without doubt, my favourite part of the track to ride on board with the driver. And I'm glad we're riding on board, Martin, not actually doing the driving.
A lot of understeer that nearly took him into the wall just before he went onto the Anderson Bridge. Diagonal this straight to be on the left-hand side well before that. It's a downhill braking zone, a little bit bumpy. And now we go up against the wall again. There's good traction just in that final part. Ease through here. We used to turn right under a tunnel, but we don't do that anymore. We go straight towards the
Lewis is on a flying lap.
Again, front end
Last.
not really putting him over the piece
Bro,
of curb.
his
He
car
would
is
like to
shit.
be on.
Charles Leclerc
His car is
improving in
shit.
the middle sectors, but his teammate not finding a middle sector improvement, although
Oh,
does
go
go
second fastest.
0.02 of a second.
Hadjar went
shy of
fastest?
Max Verstappen.
So they're dialing
Damn.
themselves in, and the track is coming to them.
Yeah.
Leclerc with that Ferrari absolutely alive.
Alive and well, and about to go fastest. Let's have a little look as Leclerc crosses the line. No, only 3rd fastest, but look, 53 thousandths of a second separating the top 3. Told you it was going to be close tonight. Piastri, we're on a lap with him. Antonelli and Sainz have been noted for potential impeding. I think that's Sainz impeding
Let's
Antonelli,
go.
who hasn't got a time on the board.
Hadjar, how
and
is
he's back in the
Hadjar the
garage.
fastest? Damn.
Hadjar goes fastest.
Stand by your beds. This is going to change quite a bit as we ride on board with Piastri.
The track is
Champion
evolving,
Andy
guys. The
Piastri,
track
Max
is evolving.
Verstappen's race engineer telling him he thinks you're safe and you don't need to go out again. If that's the case, Hadjar probably doesn't need to go out again either. That's the top 2 so far as Piastri charges on now towards turn 14 and his
Piastri went 6th fastest?
braking point.
Oh
Martin
my
again,
god.
and is getting out of his way. Very
What's wrong with
important lap
McLaren
for
Piastri
Oscar
this
Piastri's
weekend?
World Championship. Car sparking away as the aerodynamics compress the car and suspension and tyre sidewalls, and it rubs along the ground at the higher speeds. And into the final corner goes Oscar Piastri. This ought to get the job done to get him into Q2, but only P6.
There was a couple of tenths down through the first 2 sectors, and that's where he ended up by the time he crossed the line. A 1:30.4 for Oscar Piastri. Is that enough to get himself out of the bottom 5? Well, if you look at the moment, P16 Esteban Ocon 1:31.2. It's like 0.8 of a second, but the way this track is ramping up.
Yeah, that's a nervy time for Oscar Piastri. If it was Q2, he'd be in all sorts of trouble with that.
No further investigation, say the stewards, Sainz and Antonelli. So they are, well, Carlos Sainz is free to carry on as Piastri's teammate Lando Norris puts in a 26.7 for the
Norris
first
on a flying lap?
sector.
Okay, Norris went fastest.
Well, you called it.
Okay.
Crucial night, crucial weekend for Oscar Piastri's championship
The
challenge.
track is
He can
evolving,
still
guys.
afford
It'll get faster.
to be sweating and thinking about trying to get
Do
out
you
of
think
Q1.
Max needs to
Yeah,
go
I
out
mean,
again?
He got unlucky and started 5th last year, and that was a big enough challenge for him. Ended up 3rd.
Do you
of
think
course,
Max
but,
needs to
it's awful here if you end up out of position
go out
on
again?
the grid.
And Oscar Piastri in the past, 17th and 5th on the grid as Norris goes fastest now into the 1:29s. Q1 last year, fastest time was a 1:30.0 from that man there, Lando Norris. And let's have a look at what happened with Kimi Antonelli into turn 1. And there's a lot of cars there, and eventually he comes across Carlos Sainz, who was trying to keep out of the way, but did he get in his way?
Yes, he did. I think there is absolutely no doubt about that whatsoever.
But no further investigation, say the stewards. He was there and in his way, doing his best to keep out of the way, but it definitely slowed him down. And, well, Antonelli is now very much on the back foot. 4.5 minutes to go here only.
Sainz just coming out of the pits,
Yes.
because the pit lane feeds right into the apex of
Fastest first
turn
sector?
3.
Oh my
Hardly sure what
god.
he can do about it.
Oh, what a blistering first sector, though, from the young Italian from Bologna. Wow, heavens and Besses, that was a pretty impressive 26.6, wasn't it?
And the reason this track just keeps coming to the drivers is you rubber in braking zones and traction zones, and they're so critical around here. And the time just comes much more easily to you.
Verstappen's going out again.
We go then
Maybe on the
with
same used
Kimi
tires.
Antonelli,
Yep.
who in Baku last time out
On the same used
qualified
tires.
fourth on the grid. Time before that, Monza 6th on the grid, starting to get his qualifying coming together now, and the results coming with it too.
Antonelli second fastest. Damn, what a lap, bro. What a lap.
Blistering middle sector for Kimi Antonelli. He's used up another set of tyres here, but he's a second up. And if that's the level of track improvement that we're seeing, then Oscar Piastri surely is going to have to come out again.
I can imagine they might put Piastri
Everyone's coming
on a
out
new
again.
set to have another go and just use the track evolution and his speed and his car's speed to get that job done.
Antonelli goes second fastest, so a time of a 1:30.0. He set a personal best, obviously, for the final sector, but lost about 3/10 to the overall best in that final part of the lap. And Will Joseph is now saying to Lando Norris, we think you're safe, we think at 1:29.9 you're okay, but you can do a practice lap if you want.
Yeah, you want to keep your eye in, you want to keep understanding
What's a
where
practice
the track
lap?
is
Come on.
heading to. Right, who's going to go out for a last gasp effort? We've got 13
What's a practice lap?
cars on track at the moment.
Let's go,
also,
Max.
Liam Lawson in P11.
Max on a flying lap again.
That repaired car.
Certainly has. Bottom five, Tsunoda, Gasly, Ocon, Hulkenberg and Bortoletto. Piastri, I've been watching his progress. He's done a push cool, might have done another cool, but he's not come into the pits to change tyres or anything. He's
26.7.
which means
Bad,
he's carrying a
bad.
bit of the fuel effect. Car would have been a
What
little
was
heavier on that first run,
Antonelli's
which is probably why he's half a second off
sector
the pace.
time?
Personal best for Lewis Hamilton in the first sector. He could do with a nice tidy lap. He had so much understeer. Well, last time we were on board with him, if they can give that a bit of
Piastri
front
is
wing with
faster
the
than
front
Max
wing,
in sector 1.
Hamilton's in for a very solid lap time this evening.
Absolutely, 26.7 for the four-time pole sitter here, the Mercedes. You were saying there, Martin, taken to the runoff area to keep out of the way. That's what
Max is not going any faster.
When there's another car closing in on you in the way that Hamilton was.
Max is slower on the second lap.
Teammate Piastri's now started what will be his
Hamilton goes
final lap.
fastest.
Everybody is out there
Nice.
at the moment.
And no yellow flag down there for that incident. So that is what Oscar Piastri is quite rightly complaining about.
Quite. So all 20 cars out on track. If you're safe or not, well, it's like the lottery. You've got to be in it to win it, and you can't really start to take any chances around this street circuit. Hamilton getting very close to the wall.
Still goes third fastest? Oh my, bro.
Into the final corner.
I don't
Goes
take this.
quickest with a 1:29.7. You called it. You said it was going to be a good lap, and it was, and the crowd responded with cheers that we can hear from our commentary box. Lance Stroll, 14th, and only 14th fastest for a man who has had a few knockouts.
Everyone's
in
improving?
Q1 here in Singapore. 5 in his 6 visits to Singapore, and his sister Chloe watching on from the garage as Verstappen goes third fastest, and we now watch his teammate Yuki Tsunoda, who's 20th and plumb last at the moment, and boy does he need a good lap.
He does. And Red Bull need him to have a good lap. They desperately need him to get up there somehow and get in the championship battle to help Max Verstappen out. That's what Red Bull need him to do. But right now, he needs to get in the race.
Piastri, 6th fastest, 1:30.3. It was a pretty average middle sector from Oscar Piastri, and not his best. So is that 1:30?
Where is Piastri? Piastri still 6th fastest.
Behind him, lots of green.
Should be clear.
sectors,
I
personal
feel
best,
everyone
and
until
now yellow
Leclerc is
flag.
clear.
We often get them. Gasly at turn 11, and that's might well throw a spanner in the works of those on a lap trying to
Russell goes
improve their
second
progress. And we can
fastest.
see Pierre
Oh.
Gasly up against the
Okay, they're using
barriers.
new tires.
So
I
if
don't
you're
care
ahead
if
of
they're
Gasly on the
anyone
track,
with a newer
you'll be
tire.
okay, you'll be able to finish your lap, but if you're coming up to Gasly, that's it, you're out of qualifying if you're in the bottom 5.
I've lost everything. Oh, the steering's super heavy.
Oh, is that a hydraulics?
Hydraulics, yeah.
Oh, that is bad news for Pierre Gasly.
Actually, that might be electronics as well,
Yeah.
or instead of there for Gasly. But Russell finished the lap. I think he was just ahead of Gasly. And he's gone up into second place. Piastri looking okay now in 7th.
So, Tsunoda goes P10, pushes Colapinto into the bottom 5. Colapinto's out of qualifying. Bortoletto, Hulkenberg, Ocon and Gasly are still going, and I think they were ahead of Gasly. Well, certainly Bortoletto and Hulkenberg were.
Were they? I can't see how they were. But anyway,
Well,
if they show that they've lifted the throttle a little bit,
Yeah.
they'll just about get away with it. Same for Tsunoda.
They put in personal bests in that middle sector. Is that still enough? Hulkenberg gets out of the bottom 5, pushes Lance Stroll out of qualifying. It's 6 and 7. Q1 knockouts for him in Singapore. Bortoletto, after out-qualifying Hulkenberg for the last 7 races, hasn't managed it here. He's out, only P16. Esteban Ocon will be next across the line. He might have had to slow too much. He did. He stays down in 19th place. So there's your bottom 5. Bortoletto, Stroll, Colapinto, Ocon and Gasly. That is Gasly's stranded car as he walks away. And it's Lewis Hamilton and George Russell setting the top 2 times after an incident-packed first part of qualifying. And this is what happened to Gasly. And you can see he's just cruising at this stage.
Yeah, car's broken down, hasn't it? But he's still got his full dashboard. He's parked it near an exit, but about 90 degrees to where it needs to be. That won't go down there very easily. But the session's over anyway.
Is Lance Stroll getting a bit closer to the barriers than he would have wanted. It's another disappointing night for him and for Colapinto too. He does out-qualify Pierre Gasly for the 3rd consecutive race, but he's out. Gasly's out, Ocon's out, Stroll's out, Bortoletto is out, and it's a British 1-2-3 at the end of Q1.
कौन-कौन बाहर गया? Bortoletto, Stroll, Colapinto, Ocon, Gasly. It's okay. Stroll, Colapinto. सही है.
So unbelievable. It just always goes bad, man. Yeah, copy that.
Is it 100% we are out?
Pretty much we will refuel, but it looks like that. It's a shame. I know that you could have done something.
Oh, well, for sure. I had my local yellow flags.
Stay on the gap until we get the confirmation.
Always goes bad, man. Yeah, copy that.
Well, this is where it all went wrong for Lance Stroll. It was on the approach to turn 16 and 17. I'll just reload that one for you so you can get a look at it. So it just basically understeers a bit, misses the apex in 16, and then that compromises hugely the exit of turn 17. So that explains the problems for Lance Stroll there. Disappointing, especially just at the end where you've only got that one chance with the track evolution that we have here. Another interesting one I thought was Yuki Tsunoda. Just about got through, but he had a yellow flag here in turn 10 to deal with, turn 10 and 11, because of the Gasly moment. If I just roll this on, you'll see already, as soon as he comes through the corner, you got the yellow flag, the yellow light flashing there. But listen to his throttle, this is the important part. I mean, the problem here is that you do have to lift off and brake anyway for turn 11, but from what I'm hearing, he lifts off much earlier than usual. So will they look into that? But I think he should be okay. And then we look at the yellow flag, the other yellow flag situation for poor old Oscar Piastri, who had to throw another set of tyres at this, because on the right-hand side, the Williams goes off the track like he saw to make room for him. And as he does, the yellow flags come out, and you can see on Oscar's dash here, the yellow bar telling him already that there are yellows because of the car going off the track, having a moment. This is just really, and honestly, I don't know what I would have done if I'm a marshal. I understand why the yellow comes out, but the logic is, like we all know as racers watching this, Oscar shouldn't surely be having to lift off for that kind of moment. It shouldn't be yellow flag compromising that situation. So that's another one to look out for in the next round coming up in qualifying. Over to you,
Thanks,
Crofty.
Sam. Pretty frustrating, that is for sure. Let's go to the Aston Martin pit wall, because the start of qualifying is going to be delayed. We've got time to speak to the CEO and team principal, Andy Cowell. Andy, really good to talk to you tonight. And sadly, for a 12th time this season, Lance is out in Q1, and he said everything goes bad. So what went bad for him in Q1?
Hi, Crofty. It's the third sector, as I think Ant was showing, looking at the coverage. Entry to 16 and then exit of 17. Both Fernando and Lance lost 2-3 tenths there. So, yeah, frustrating.
Andy, the car looked so good yesterday, particularly with this downforce that we know worked well for you in Hungary, for example. How do we explain to the fans why you sort of slipped back down the field when it looked so good?
I think, you know, everybody else pushes and improves. We've made setup changes to push and improve, and then, you know, as you know, it's down to one single lap in qualifying, and it looks like we've lost out in one area really, 16, 17. So all the engineers are looking at the moment and seeing what we can do to help Fernando as we go through to Q2.
Absolutely. Thanks, Andy. We'll be back with you, hopefully, at the end of Q2. Hulkenberg, Alonso, Albon separated by, what, 6/100ths of a second at the end of that Q1 session. As I say, we've got a delay to the start of Q2 due to the fact that they need to recover that Alpine car and the yellow flag checks, we're being told, by the FIA as well. And Hamilton, Russell and Norris, the top three after the end of Q1. I mentioned Lewis Hamilton, 4-time pole sitter here. He's got an incredible record in Singapore after qualifying in the top 5 for all 15 Singapore Grand Prix ever held. Horses for courses, they say, Ted Kravitz. It's the prancing horses for courses for Lewis Hamilton here this year.
Yes, I'm trying to think of some kind of link to Williams.
But he hasn't driven for Williams.
I can't really do some sort of horse equine related pun to a Williams, so I'm just going to tell you about them.
Well, trot on
where
then,
they
sir.
Trot, very good. A bit of a difficult qualifying so far. Don't say it too loudly. Carlos Sainz only 11th. Alex Albon just missing out, just scraping into Q2 by a 10th. So, you know, I know Williams thought that they were going to have a slightly, well, they actually thought they would have a slightly tougher weekend here than in Baku. But that is really, and they used 3 sets of tyres, I believe, according to my information. I saw them go out on new sets quite a lot. So Gabriel Bortoletto, I've got to tell you also, is still sat in the car. They're just checking at Sauber that no one, such as Yuki Tsunoda, are going to get called up for a yellow flag infringement. There were a couple of other cars that Sauber believe sped under the yellow flag. But yeah, we're still waiting. Is it a barrier replacement we're waiting, or waiting for the Gasly car to be cleared away?
We have 3 minutes to go to the start of Q2. They've recovered the car, they've checked the yellow flags, and we'll be ready to go. Martin.
Yeah, this is an advantage Max Verstappen. He's got 4 new sets of tyres left. The others, like Norris, Leclerc, Hamilton and Russell, Antonelli, have got 3. Oscar Piastri has got 2 new sets of tyres left, although one of his used set just did that out and in, basically, from the yellow flag situation. So, and Hadjar too. Isaac Hadjar got through that using 1 new set of tyres. So he did very well too. He's sitting pretty tyre-wise, but you'd have to say it's Verstappen has now got the upper hand and able to go out and nail 4 brand new sets. That's 2 per session. if required, of the front runners.
Max Verstappen with the most amount of poles of any driver so far this season as well, 6 of them in 2025, and pole, of course, in the last 2 races. Now, up on our timing screens, we're told Bortoleto, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, Russell and Stroll have been noted for a yellow flag infringement. And pointed this out on the Sky Pad.
Let's go, Q2 time, 2 minutes to go,
guys.
guys.
Did they not lift off enough when the yellow flags came out for Pierre Gasly? Lance Stroll's been looked at. No further investigation on that one. He, of course, is already out
2 minutes to
of
go.
this qualifying session. But Tsunoda and Bortoleto and Hulkenberg and Russell are going to be investigated after the session.
Ooh.
So
George Russell did go past the yellow flag, and he wasn't just in front of it, and the 2 Saubers did, as we suspected. It's a pity they can't do that now, isn't it? Because that's so crucial.
I hate to say this could be a late night until we know what the grid is then.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always a late night in Singapore. It's 9:30 on this Saturday evening here, but that's going to take a bit of sorting out after the qualifying session.
Yeah, but some drivers, Tsunoda is through now.
Yeah.
Where was Russell? I think Russell was through anyway, wasn't he?
Yeah.
In the top 15, but Tsunoda went from last to 10th with that. He's now through into the next phase.
Russell is second, nice.
And it's such a shame we can't know that right now, but there's a lot to look into, and a lot of data, a lot of video, a lot of throttle traces and what have you that Ant was showing us on the Sky Pad.
Yeah, we can listen to the audio, we can show you the footage, but when it comes to the data traces, they need to be pulled up, and it takes a little while, as you say. But I think it is a shame. I'd rather, Martin, take 5 or 10 minutes if we could to sort that out now.
And that's why they kept Bortoleto sitting in the car, just in case a driver got kicked out through yellow flag infringements. But they did, several cars did a better lap by going past that yellow flag and giving a merest breathe on the throttle.
Well, Simon and Jensen and Jamie will be downloading and debating the incidents in qualifying after the checkered flag has fallen. And if we haven't got the results, well, don't forget skysports.com/F1 for all your F1 news. We'll bring it to you as soon as we possibly can if we've gone off air here in Singapore. We have a green light. And there are some of you watching at home watching our coverage, or if your mate's lucky enough to be in a grandstand, you're getting a very fine video message there straight from the mobile phone. Either way,
Max first.
Now we're saying Q2 will start at 21:32, so they've delayed it for an extra minute, even after saying green light pit exit open about half a minute ago.
The cars will tick over quite nicely down at the end of the pit lane, but Max wants to, they're resetting the lights at the moment, but Max wants to get out there on this occasion and get the time done.
Right, here we go then. Out of the pit lane comes Max Verstappen.
Out of
so
pit.
Stewards will be looking at those drivers after the session from that yellow flag incident. George Russell, well, he was setting green sectors. He was setting some mini green sectors in between the marshal posts as well. But you can still do that and lift off when the track is improving and when you're a bit more dialed in as a driver. But you need to see how long they were lifting for.
I'll be surprised if, like Yuki Tsunoda, they don't all, they know the rules, that they don't all give it a breather on the throttle. And then the track evolution and the driver evolution was such that it's still worth completing that lap.
If you're, in the case of George Russell, if your first time was good enough to get into Q2, even if you're found to have not lifted off properly, and you would have been in it anyway if that lap time was deleted, do they let you off, the stewards, or is that a...
Yeah, they just delete that time, but it kind of doesn't matter anymore, does it? They're through.
They're through.
They're through. You know, those that are not through are parked up. So you can't unravel that. You can't rewind as such.
Right, on board then with Carlos Sainz, who's reached Q3 twice in the last 3 races, which has been a brilliant achievement given that he missed Q3 for the 7 races before that. He's out on track.
Chalo, Max will start his flying lap.
Hamilton, Max Verstappen, Isaac Hadjar's out there already. Verstappen and Hadjar just using the one set of new soft tyres during the first part of qualifying. Behrman's out there. Ollie Behrman, super laps from him.
We've got 2 outliers amongst the sort of usual front runners in Hadjar and Behrman.
Yeah.
That could spoil the day.
And watch Hülkenberg a bit tonight. I know he's not been in Q3 this season, but don't forget his record here at the Marina Bay Circuit is pretty good. 6 consecutive Q3 appearances. We've been talking about this weekend. It's a circuit where the driver makes a difference. And if you go well
Max.
here for a couple of years, you tend to carry on
for Max
well.
per sector.
This man has never been on pole, Martin, so take us through this lap.
Interesting that he didn't feel the need to use any extra space on the outside of the braking zone into turn 1. And he's carrying plenty of speed through turn 5, isn't he?
Okay, the track,
the wall.
I don't
It's
know. It's still early to say if the track is...
Now, where you just sort of
track will
release your
evolve.
grip on the steering wheel. Don't use any meters that you don't have to. Lean on the curb through the exit to arrest.
Albon did a 26.7,
This is a block
sector
change, 90
1.
left, then the 90 right. We're in now. And again, a sweep across the track for
37.6 second sector.
Left-hander down to the bottom. We lost the beautiful little chicane in there back in 2013, which I rather enjoyed, the Singapore flyer, but they don't do that anymore. Over the Anderson Bridge, cars have been going over there since 1910, but never this fast. Max Verstappen then eases diagonally down that straight, DRS open, downhill braking.
A good sector
point,
too. I would say a good...
Use all the space on the
129.7, a good lap for Max. A good
He'll
lap.
hug a little bit left here to save meters, save a car length or two. And this is a critical braking point. You've got to connect with that curb on the inside. Keep the back end under control. Now you just got to be brave through the last corner. Pin the throttle. Car changes direction incredibly quickly. And Verstappen over the line, a 29.7. That's
a very good lap for Max.
That's 0.3 faster than he managed with his best lap in Q1 too. Look how floaty as well. Getting to that Anderson Bridge part. And he was a blur on the steering wheel as the car got really light on him. And I say he's not been on pole. He's not been on pole here. He has, of course, been on pole 67 times in his career. Elsewhere, one of 2 tracks on the calendar, of course, that Max Verstappen hasn't got that pole position. But that was 3 tracks before Baku last time out. And there's Vegas to come after this. Hadjar slots in 4/10 behind him.
Alonso goes third fastest. Nice.
Charles Leclerc now as he continues on his way, and Hadjar getting out of the way nicely.
Oh, bad first sector for Charles.
We just saw into the straight. 90
he
miles now, minimum speed, and then they lean up against the wall. This is a key overtaking place in the race tomorrow, but for now, you've just got to minimize
Did he
the angle of
abort?
the corners,
He aborted.
maximize your apex speed.
He
That's
aborted
the
the
job
lap.
of the drivers. Do not brake too early.
Russell had a very good
Say
sector
you might as
1.
well go home if you brake
A
too
very
early.
good sector 1.
George Russell with the fastest first sector of a 26.6. He's put at least a 10th on the rest. Fernando Alonso slots in the 3rd. Carlos
He
Sainz
choked in
in the 4th.
sector
Liam
2.
Lawson goes 6th. Don't forget he made his debut in Formula
Where
1
is Norris? Where is
a couple of years
Piastri?
ago, and at the end of Q2 knocked Max Verstappen out of the top 10.
And this is used tyres for George Russell, so first sector shaping up extremely well. Lots of revs on the downshift there, and back end of the car. So his tyres are starting to get hot now, and he's got a zigzag between these 2 cars. And
Russell
this is the
goes
problem
4th
they have
fastest.
in the final
Still
few
good.
corners,
Still good, I would say.
where the surface of the tyres just screaming, changes the property of the
I
compound
want to
of
say
the tyre.
Antonelli goes
This row,
second
Aston
fastest.
Martin are struggling as well.
0.7 hundredths of
where
a
your
second.
tyres have really had enough, and George having to be quite careful through there. Let's see how it turns out on the overall lap.
Around the final corner,
Yes,
George
Norris goes
Russell
3rd fastest,
goes 4th
100,
fastest.
110.
Half a second
110.
down on Max Verstappen. We were watching Charles Leclerc's lap.
Where's
I thought he backed
Piastri?
off a little bit.
Antonelli's
He
lap
did
got
back off
deleted.
a little
Woo!
bit, so he wasn't happy with what was going on as Kimi Antonelli now goes
A good
second
sector
fastest.
2
I
for
think he's right
Piastri.
there in the mix tonight. Lando Norris, you would expect to be in the mix by the end of it. He's 2
Good
tenths
sector 2
down,
for
though,
Piastri.
on Max Verstappen after that lap, but
Yeah.
he is on
Good
used
sector 2.
tyres.
He's on used tyres.
Piastri
we've
goes
heard,
second. Let's
Giancarlo
go.
Lambiase,
Let's go. Let's
Max
go.
Verstappen's engineer said, we think you're safe with that. That'll give him 3 brand new sets of tyres for Q3. He could just go out and just pound the laps in.
And if
Let's
he
go.
does save one, that might come in handy for late safety cars in the race tomorrow.
Or save one for the race, yeah.
Piastri goes second fastest. Now, Max Verstappen has someone within a 10th of a second, and we go back on board with Lewis Hamilton out of the
Lewis,
left-hander,
good sector
and of
1,
course the Espanol will be
bad
great,
sector
and his
1, good
teammate
sector
Charles
2,
Leclerc
was
on a
3rd
flying lap
fastest.
at the same time. Leclerc's a 10th
Charles,
up on
amazing
Hamilton
sector
through
1,
the first
bad sector 2.
and we'll
So
see what
might
happens
end up
by the
somewhere
time he gets to the
between
end of sector 2. So
Norris and
Two
Hamilton.
Ferraris out there and no traffic to speak of to get in their way either. Into turn 16 and now 17. That chicane is so important to get a good exit. And he wasn't as close to the wall as some have
No,
been.
he go somewhere between Hamilton and Norris.
Out of the
is
final
what I feel.
corners, down the straight to the line. Hamilton third fastest, just under 2/10 down. And Charles Leclerc
Did he abort?
lost time
He only
to
went.
Hamilton, 3/10 down.
He's
to
only
Hamilton
13th
in the middle
fastest.
sector.
Damn,
That was a very
Leclerc.
calming lap there for
Charles needs to go around.
and a good lap from him. Lewis splitting the two McLarens.
Go
What's
around.
his
He'll get
teammate
eliminated if
able
he
to
does
do?
this again.
He's done a couple of personal bests. And where does he
Bad
turn up?
run.
So
Bad run.
Charles Leclerc is down in P13. And below him,
I don't
Alex
think Max
Albon,
will come
and
out
below
again.
him, Kimi
Or shouldn't.
Antonelli. While we were focusing just there with the
Come out
pictures on Ferrari, Kimi Antonelli, who was second fastest at one stage, has had his lap time deleted. So that's why he's down there with no time whatsoever, and he's had it deleted because he's exceeded track limits.
So Leclerc, is we're on board with Lewis Hamilton. Leclerc's done 3 personal bests because it's obviously his first big effort in Q2. But it's only left him 13th.
Whew, I said he'd lost 3/10 to Lewis during the middle sector on that lap, but that is not good. And this is... Has he hit the wall? Yeah, he did. His teammate hit the
Charles
wall in FP3,
hit the
FP2
wall.
last night.
Hits the wall with the left rear, and then that swings the right left
He had
front
a
as
bad.
well around.
He did hit it
and
quite
boom,
harshly.
they're both going to wall.
And this is Antonelli's track excursion.
Kimi again struggling with the
That was
same
tight.
same
And
chicane.
you could
guys.
argue at that speed from the onboard, it looked like he was on the line, but there'll be a static camera somewhere looking at that from a head-on shot that will show the stewards whether he was over the line or not. Closest to the wall so far, Charles Leclerc, because he's hit it.
It looked like -2 centimetres, didn't it?
Yeah.
Nice one.
Right, just time to hold your breath or ease your breath. For a
Everyone's
little
in pit?
while,
I don't think
because
so.
Now the cars
Max will
are
be
back in
leading.
the garages, getting ready for a final run. And
Max will
it's
lead
all
the
to do
pits.
for Kimi Antonelli, who hasn't got a time on the board. It's all to do for Alex Albon. It's all to do for Charles Leclerc, Yuki Tsunoda, and Liam Lawson. But theoretically, even Alex Albon just needs to improve by 2/10. It is that tight down there. From Isaac Hadjar, I say Lando Norris, who's currently 4th fastest, all the way down to Alex Albon, less than half a second.
Yeah, you certainly can't. Lando Norris can't feel confident with a 30 flat, slightly slower than he did in Q1, albeit with the used tyres. What do you got for us, Ted?
I've got the lesser spotted Max Verstappen on new tyres again. A little bit of a kerfuffle as Haas tries to blend in with both Racing Bulls coming out the garage, but Max has put another new set on. Hey, he's got 83 sets of them, he might as well put another one on. Fresh tyres for Lando as well, passing me. Waiting to see what Oscar Piastri
Everyone's
does.
coming out, Max
but
is
for me,
coming
the
out,
focus
fresh
has to be on
tyres.
Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc, he's got to find 4/10 really, hasn't he, to be absolutely safe. Scrappy so far in this session for Charles Leclerc, and we'll see. But Oscar Piastri's
Charles is going for
engineer,
a
Crofty,
new win.
congratulating him on a good lap for P2 on those used tyres, and it is a fresh tyres now for Piastri. So are we about to see what
Max
Piastri's
went out for
got
another lap
on
again.
some
Let's go,
new
let's go,
tyres,
let's go.
which we think are worth what, the better part of 2/10 over a used set?
Let's see
about that. Let's see.
Yeah, there's no point. I mean, they think Max is safe, but it's looking so close up there. There's no point in having endless sets of new tyres available, but to be 11th on the grid, is there? So they may as well use them.
Right, 7/10 of a second separate
Track
Max
evolution is
Verstappen
crazy
down to
in
Alex
Singapore.
Albon. Everyone's got a time on the board apart from Kimi Antonelli. He did have a time of a 1:29.8. It got deleted because he exceeded track limits. Otherwise, he'd have been P3 and maybe
So much
sitting
oversteer
quite
for
comfortably.
Antonelli.
Let's see how he gets on this.
A bad
lap
sector
then.
1,
Yeah, so just to
26.794.
remind you, this sets the grid for 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15 places.
Verstappen started
But,
his lap.
Top 10, all it does is get you another go at the game.
That's not a great first sector for Antonelli. Once you've gone over the line once, are you a little bit cautious, I wonder, in that part of the track again?
Almost certainly. Oh, the back end trying to step out on him. So much torque, so much twisting power from these motors. Carries a lot of speed through
Oh,
there.
good sector 1 for Max
And,
again.
Mickey
It's
Mouse
26.6.
there onto the Anderson Bridge. all looking nice and sweeping. Is it fast enough?
Tsunoda will get
Russell's
eliminated
gone
though.
fastest of anybody in the first
Antonelli has
sector.
gone
Antonelli
fastest.
then needs to get this lap done, and he's fastest in the middle sector. That's worth the treat. And
track
hopefully
evolution, guys.
He's got some tyres left
Track
for the
evolution.
crucial final few corners.
This happened a couple of times in FP2 as well, and in FP3 and Antonelli.
Let's go, Max.
Not bringing his tyres into the right working window at the start of the lap, because then he nails the middle sector when they get up to the right temperature. Round the final
37.5, a good second
sector
sector 2 as well.
Yeah, 129.6 for Kimi Antonelli. How about that?
Russell is flying, guys.
Super lap from the young man. Meanwhile, his teammate George
A
Russell,
crazy lap
track
from
at the
Russell.
moment. When he finishes this
Crazy
lap,
lap.
they'll tell him no further investigation for that yellow flag infringement, so there's no possibility of a grid penalty for that particular incident.
So George Russell home and free.
Max goes second
Now
fastest.
he's just got to freewheel it through these last
Wow,
two corners.
100ths
See
of
how
a
he gets
second.
on. Just smashes the throttle, accelerates, and he's fastest.
Everyone's on new tyres now, so we'll start to get a really good idea of the pecking order with everyone running fresh rubber, and just 900ths of a second, give or take, between Russell and Antonelli.
And now we know why Verstappen is out on another new set of tyres, don't we?
Yeah. The evolution of Formula One here at
Track
Singapore.
evolution is crazy,
And
guys.
every
It's
lap
crazy.
that goes by, they're going faster and faster as Verstappen now goes second fastest and splits the two Mercedes cars. And there's barely a tenth of a second between them. Projected knockout time of a 1:30.0. So Alex Albon, where can he go? 9th place only for Alex Albon. It's a 1:30.
Norris still a doo-doo, 2 tenths down on Max, is what I feel. 1.5 tenths at least.
Behrman's put in a 26.7, which is a tenth of a
Where's
second
Piastri?
ahead of him.
Piastri will be
Lawson
actually
is
2
one
tenths
that we
down, I
know
feel.
that could get into the top 10 here, and he's certainly done that in the
Where's-
past.
where's
Alonso is
Charles?
there in P8 currently. Alex Albon
Charles
just
had
behind him in
decent sector
P9.
1.
Round the corners we go with
Norris
Isaac
completed
Hadjar,
his lap
who
4th
was second
fastest only.
to Max Verstappen at the end of Q1. Hadjar crosses the line, only 7th fastest for Isaac Hadjar,
Hadjar.
who's only improved by 2 tenths on his Q1 performance, as Behrman now goes 8th fastest, pushes Sainz down into that bottom 5.
That takes all the pressure off Norris, for example, and Hamilton, but Norris will want to keep his eye in, will want to understand where the track is at.
Carlos Sainz then in that bottom 5 and out.
Piastri didn't improve in sector 2.
Lando Norris a little bit unsteady going through the penultimate corner, but goes 4th fastest ahead of his teammate Oscar Piastri.
Charles had a
who's
bad
just
sector
started
2 as
his
well.
final
I
flying
don't
lap
think so he's
in
making
this
to
session.
Q3.
Charles Leclerc, where is Charles Leclerc on the track? He's currently here towards turn 10, and that wasn't the greatest of first sectors, but it wasn't the worst first sector either.
He's under pressure,
He's
Charles
not,
Leclerc here.
he's not improving.
And McLaren appear to be missing a quarter of a second as well, unless Piastri could do something about that. But his first 2 sectors suggest otherwise.
Twice a pole sitter here in Singapore, Charles Leclerc hasn't qualified outside the top
Bro,
10
Tsunoda is
since
out
he was
again.
13th on the
I
grid
mean,
in
a no-brainer
2018.
technically.
This is not looking particularly great. A 37.7
Charles went 6th
for the
fastest.
middle
Damn,
sector.
finally.
Whilst that might be a personal best, still a couple of tenths
Finally.
outside where he wants to be. Alex Albon's out of qualifying. Nico Hülkenberg has just put his Sauber into the top 10. Can Charles Leclerc dispose Hülkenberg? Yes, he can. He goes P6, pushes Hülkenberg down into 11th. He left it late, but he performed
Who's on a flying
and
lap
did
right
just
now?
enough to get through into P6 by the time he finished his final lap.
Charles has a
Better
lovely
late than
helmet.
never, and that is it, isn't it?
The
There's
helmet
nobody
looks
else out
so
there
good.
that can deliver a last
So
lap
good.
gasp. So Charles Leclerc actually ends up slightly ahead of Lewis Hamilton, but they're 3/4 tenths shy of the ultimate pace. So Ferrari struggling a little bit tonight, but it also seems as if, I mean, Verstappen's got a great chance here, and Mercedes has got a great chance here of being ahead of the McLarens. They've got to find something special in Q3.
Yeah, I was going to say, the 2 McLarens are a couple of tenths off the pace here, and the pace is being set after Q2 by George Russell, Mr. Saturday, coming alive under the lights, but Verstappen and Antonelli and Russell separated by less than a tenth. Lovely lap from Ollie Behrman, lovely lap from Fernando Alonso, getting into that top 10 at the expense of Nico Hülkenberg, who misses out on Q3 here for the first time in 7 years. Alex Albon misses out, as does his teammate Carlos Sainz. Liam Lawson,
Who's out?
brilliant
Hülkenberg,
efforts in qualifying, but P14.
Albon, Sainz,
and Yuki
Lawson and
Tsunoda
Tsunoda.
last in Q2.
Lawson has struggled throughout the weekend, so I won't say much, but Tsunoda, my man, come on, bro. I mean, come on. You need to step up. Let's go, guys. So Q1, Q2 update. So we have 5 more minutes for the Q3 to start. Out in Q3, Q1 were Bortoleto, Stroll, Colapinto, Ocon, and Gasly. Gasly crashed at the end of the session, so was out. Out in Q2 were Hülkenberg, Albon, Sainz, Lawson, and Tsunoda. Another disappointing qualifying for Tsunoda. I don't know what went wrong there, but surely something went wrong.
Yeah, disappointing for both Williamses. So I've got them teed up here to have a look at what went wrong. I mean, it's a small moment, I'd say, for Alex Albon, only on the exit of turn 11, 12. That moment there is all I can find, so I just don't think the car quite had the pace in it through the rest of the lap. Now, I haven't actually seen this one. This clip's only just arrived in that break that we've had, so let's watch what happens to Sainz on the exit of turn 14. Bit of understeer mid-corner. And yeah, just fighting the rear end there. So both drivers actually having problems with the rear end of the car and the combined traction when you're cornering and got the longitudinal acceleration at the same time. Not quite sure like what else they could have really done with that. And then yeah, we got this one with Kimi Antonelli. We obviously saw it real time. It's very hard to see in the heat of the moment, but this is the lap where it got deleted for track limits. So I'll just slow it down for you. So the thing you're looking out for obviously is the edge of this white line, not the outside.
They're not showing it on the screen for me.
That bit
3 minutes for the
that you're looking at.
Q3 session to start.
If the tyre goes over that, or all 4 tyres
guys, drop in your suggestions or drop in your predictions.
I believe he's still on it here, and I'm looking at
that
part of the white line as my reference as well.
Who will be on pole today?
So I think the biggest part where he goes
over is
about...
Will it be the Mercedes?
It's about there, isn't it? That's the widest he goes.
Singapore, home of F1 night racing. Damn.
This is so close. I mean, they went again, but at a cost of another set of fresh tyres, of course. But I'll leave it up to you. I think if you were looking at this from the top down, remember the tyre is bulbous, so it sticks out more.
Max has 2 new sets of tyres.
I feel this is too close to call from this angle. Maybe the stewards have a different CCTV view or whatever to have a look at it, but
cars are already queuing up at the pit exit.
3, he's had this moment.
First is I guess
pushing on, obviously not through the first turn. He was a bit more sensible there.
More than both of these Mercedes.
On the exit, he had a massive snap of oversteer, but he got the job done anyway. Still under investigation, of course, is the Hülkenberg moment through the yellow flags. Now, did he lift off enough through Q1? Let's have a listen. I think he's going to be okay with that one as well. So Russell was cleared, but just listening to that, I think Hulkenberg did the right thing. There's no more he could have really done with lifting off any more on the exit of turn 10.
Alonso is
So,
also
back to you,
out.
Crofty.
Thank you, Ant. Confirmation Russell and Stroll have been cleared there. The stewards, I think, do have a static camera down at turn 1. I'll have a word with Cameron from the FIA, so see if he'll send me a picture of it. Meanwhile, let's go to Andy Cowell, who's got a man into Q3, Fernando Alonso. You know, it's the young drivers, they make all the difference, Andy, don't they?
Hello, Crofty. Yeah, no, that was a good
Guys,
session.
I'm so sleepy.
16, 17, very clean, especially on that last lap. So that's pleasing to see Fernando go through. We just need to find a little bit more now.
So was that all about not using the tyres quite so hard earlier on in the lap?
Yeah, it's a balance as to how you spend the tyres through the lap, preparation work on the out lap, and it's an unforgiving circuit, isn't it? So it's about stitching it all together.
Good luck with that, Andy. Thank you very much. You just saw the top 3 in the championship projected onto the Marina Bay Sands. Oscar Piastri, 324 points. Lando Norris, 299.
Let's
Max
go. Start up the
Verstappen,
session.
255. And the way this qualifying is looking tonight, you've got to include Max Verstappen in the title hunt. He might have ruled himself out a few races ago, Martin Brundle. But
There's a
he has
kid
put
on the
himself,
screen
with his
waving.
driving, back in the hunt.
Yeah, it's a tall order because he's got to score all the big points in all the remaining races, and who's to say a Ferrari or a Mercedes won't do that. So we're a few seconds away from the restart, and we'll go down to Ted.
Got to include Mercedes after that lap from George Russell. Yes, he did it after Max Verstappen, but still, they are in it. Russell's in it. Verstappen's in it. I'm looking forward to this, Crofty. Verstappen's in it. You've got to say, where is McLaren's pace? Haven't seen it yet. Norris and Piastri
Let's
have
go.
to be in it.
Q3 started,
but
guys.
if
Last
they
12
do,
minutes.
it'll be some kind of
The-
turnaround.
the
Just looking
moment
down
is here.
towards the cars lining up at the end. A bit of a shout out for Isaac Hadjar. Scraped through in, I think it was P8 or P9, P8 in Q2. He said it was a terrible lap, Crofty, and he's got much more gas in the tank in terms of performance. He'll only have 3 laps of gas in the tank, literally, but he thinks he can do better and be a factor, maybe in the top 6.
It might be a night race here, but of course it's brighter than a grey day at Silverstone or a grey day anywhere else for that matter. It really isn't an issue, and the lights are so good that you don't get shadows across the track as you can at for example, Le Mans or Daytona 24 Hours.
Never ever seen a grey day at Silverstone ever, and I won't have you say that ever again, Martin Brundle. The sun always shines on the home of the Formula One World Championship from 1950, where we started this title, this great sporting championship 75
Look,
years
McLarens are heading
ago.
out.
We have 3 rookies in the top 10 here going for pole here in
Max is
Singapore.
still in pit.
We have Mercedes with 2 cars in the top 10 here in
Max
Singapore.
just left the
and they've
pits.
started in the top 3 in each of the last 5 Marina
Why
Bay
does it
races.
show that
We
Max is
have
still in pits?
6 poles between them. The 2 Ferraris, Leclerc and Hamilton. We have Fernando Alonso, hasn't been on pole, well, since you were wearing short trousers, Martin, 4,823 days ago. We have the 2 McLarens of Norris and Piastri, where's their pace? And we have Verstappen, who has been setting
look,
some pace.
Russell
Knot in my stomach, like I get
already
in
on his
final
first sector.
qualifying in
Bayman did
Monaco.
out 26.7.
That's always been the big one, hasn't it? But this is
Russell
so
did
close. This is
26.4. Damn.
Leclerc and Alonso, the only 3 going for their first laps.
Russell with a mega sector 1, guys.
Tires. Everyone else is on the new
Mega
tyres.
sector 1.
It's a Saturday. Let's feature George Russell, shall we, and see his way through the rest of the 3 miles on
26.5
his
for
first 5 lap.
He's
Antonelli.
been pretty much Mr. Everyday this year, hasn't he? And going very well indeed. We've yet to hear that he'll be signed up for a Mercedes next year, but of course he will be once they sort a few things out. This is already turn 7. Here we go. And these are the 90-degree block changes.
37.4,
I
a
was
very
talking
good
about
sector
the
2 as well,
reminiscence of
guys.
American street circuits.
George is
but
flying.
There are parts later on that are not. So quite a long back straight now. And it's a little right kink.
Bayman goes 130, 166. Not a competitive time, guys.
Thread the car through here, through the eye of a needle. This
Antonelli goes
right hand onto the
37.482.
immediately on
Second
the brakes.
sector,
So
a
important
decent,
to
a
get
good
into
second
this
sector as well.
corner onto the back straight. DRS will now be open. And you press the throttle so hard.
Norris went
there's a wonder it
26.6,
doesn't
a bad
go
sector 1 for
through the
Norris. 2
bulkhead,
tenths down on
because
Russell.
Never got enough power down there. And
Russell went
of course,
one.
he's,
Oh,
fastest of
a very
anybody,
good
because
lap.
he's the only one that's really set those proper
Who's
sector
129,
time.
166.
George Russell. And
4,
he's
3 tenths
flying.
faster than.
That's a hard hit in the wall.
Well, he's going to carry on and he's going to finish the lap here, but that was less than a millimetre away from a car-breaking collision with a wall for George Russell.
29.1 though, that's a cracking lap time. But they make him strong,
Ricardo
those Mercedes F1 cars.
They certainly do. George Russell's only been quickest in Q2 at one other race this season. That was Canada. He won the race from
Max
pole.
had a bad
Still
sector
fastest
1,
as his
guys.
teammate crosses the line. Kimi Antonelli
3
with a
tenths
long
lower than
29.5, and Ollie Behrman on the used tyres
3
with
tenths lower than
130.1.
George.
Here's Lando Norris now.
To 1 tenth lower than
37.6 for the first 2 sectors.
Max is going for 2 laps.
Better. Anything
Maybe
George Russell
higher,
did, and
much
he's
fuel,
probably
much
about
more
4
fuel.
tenths down on George Russell. Fernando Alonso can't go faster than Behrman. He's on the used soft tyres as well. Hamilton and Leclerc 26.7 for the first sector. Piastri in touching distance with a 26.5 in the first sector. Here comes Lando Norris then round the final corner. Pole sitter here last year. What is this lap doing? 4 tenths down, only third.
Wow, that's a long way down, isn't it? So, a lot of work to do for McLaren. We talked about leaving no time on the table. That's George Russell's lap, isn't it? He threw that car
Piastri goes second fastest.
Charles Leclerc goes 4th fastest, and in his Ferrari, ahead of Isaac Hadjar. Lewis Hamilton will be next across the line. Piastri nearly 3 tenths down.
Verstappen goes second fastest.
Sectors. Hamilton 4th
Oh,
fastest.
damn,
ahead
Russell.
of Leclerc.
Mega
And
lap
a
from
long way
Russell.
off the pace. Verstappen has gone fastest in the middle sector. He's a couple of tenths down on George Russell, and these are just the first flying runs in Q3. We've got a whole load more to come. Where's Piastri going to put his McLaren? Goes second fastest ahead of Kimi Antonelli, and
Bro, an
ahead,
intense
crucially
qualifying.
for him, of his teammate Lando Norris. Verstappen
very
will be
intense
next across
qualifying.
the line. He's been setting the pace here all day long, but on this occasion he has to play second fiddle to George Russell, who's on provisional pole.
Piastri was blinding through the final corner, but it still wasn't enough to make the difference.
Two mega
But
sectors
they will
from
go again.
Max,
Verstappen,
but
and that's quite a lot of time to find a couple of tenths. That was,
sector
that was
was
some kind
doo-doo.
of lap from George Russell, wasn't it? Wall-assisted lap.
Was it 2018? Paul di Resta, I think, was stood alongside me, and he described Lewis Hamilton's pole lap here in Singapore as a
George did actually touch the wall as well.
And this lap from George reminds me a bit of that. Phew, he'd have felt that bang as well.
Yeah, it probably saved the gearbox that he just kept his foot buried in it. But it's a wonder he didn't break a tie rod or something, or a bit of carbon suspension. But he had the gumption to just carry on. Well, I tell you what, if that suspension had failed in the last corner, he'd have known about it. But that is why they get paid the big dollar.
And Oscar Piastri scraping the wall as well in his McLaren. This is
Dude.
because it's so close. This is the drivers are having to do this.
And they want to get on that yellow piece. It's got more grip than the serrated curb. They want to be out there, but they don't want to be quite that far out there. But when you
Everyone's
sit
in
the
pit
cockpit of
right
these
now.
cars, there's an awful lot of
Ah.
real estate, of machinery behind you. The back of the car is wide and long.
It's a wonder you can judge it, you know, to that extreme, or maybe they're just getting away with it a little bit. But the best thing about that first part of qualifying is we've got another part to come as well in terms of Q3. And that's
Max
where
is
George
losing
Russell's
much more
making
speed on
time
straights.
on Max Verstappen, and quite a lot of time in straight lines.
That's interesting, isn't it? It's all straight line, isn't it?
Yeah.
The advantage there. Yeah. George would be the silver one, presumably. Max would be the orange one.
Right, so through the corners then, yeah.
Yes. It's the other way around, isn't it?
Let's go.
I wondered if they were just highlighting
Nobody left the
bits. No,
pits.
that would make more sense. That he's
Yes.
making up
Behrman
that
left
amount of
the
time.
pits right now.
We shall see. Soft tyres.
Norris
new
left the
soft
pits.
tyres going on the cars. Ted Kravitz, down to you.
So big question for me is, where has McLaren's speed gone, and do they have anything else? The sector times just suggest they're slower in all 3 sectors.
Everyone coming out of
Russell
pits
has got
right
the
now,
best
right?
first sector, Verstappen has got the best last one, and Antonelli is quickest in the middle, and Oscar Piastri a 10th off in all of them. But what a lap. That is going to take some beating. 2 tenths quicker than Verstappen, George Russell. They're all lining up. Lewis on used soft tyres. So Lewis has run out of tyres. Bear that in mind for this last run.
Thanks,
Lewis on new softs.
You can see they're scrubbed. They've not got any shiny surface on. Why are new tyres better, even though the others have only done 10 miles or 15 kilometers or something? It's because the compound
Yo, Shivam bhai, big fan. Arre, Omkar bhai, I love you.
They just give up a little bit of grip.
Omkar bhai, मैं सुना streaming में वापस comeback कर लिया भाई.
That's one more cure going and heat cycle going through them.
चलो भाई जल्दी pitch के बाहर आओ.
Just an ounce
What
of
are you guys
grip
doing?
that affects you braking, turning, mid corner, and
Guys
particularly
भाई,
traction.
job का क्या scene फिर?
3 different pole sitters in the last 3 runnings of the Singapore Grand Prix. We might well be on course for 4 in 4 here because George Russell,
चल रहा है दोनों साथ में.
Oscar
Crazy
Piastri,
भाई,
Kimi
crazy है
Antonelli,
भाई,
the top
crazy.
4. None of them have been on pole here in Singapore before. The qualifying head-to-head, Oscar Piastri heads it at McLaren, 10-7. Little intra-team battle. There's no intra-team battle at Red Bull. Verstappen leads Tsunoda 15-0, make that 16-0 as he's out-qualified him again here this evening.
मैं comeback बहुत लोगों को setback हो रहा सोच एक दिन में इतना फर्क पड़ा हैं?
Down at the end of the pit lane.
क्या हो गया
This is an important lap.
ऐसा क्या हो गया?
When you know that you're probably not chasing pole position, the key
ऐसा क्या कर
here
गया
for
भाई?
Oscar is to rig
Guys,
the
last
heck
2.5
out of his
minutes,
car
let's go.
and qualify ahead of his teammate.
Lando getting towards the end of the out lap, the warm-up lap, going very steadily indeed, really trying to leave some life.
Bayman
in
first
his
sector
tyres.
26.7, Norris is first sector 26.6, a decent first sector by Norris.
And he might come across them as they're feeding out onto the track as he makes his way now out of turn 1. Lando Norris is going for it in his final flying lap, and he got pole position here last
better
year.
first
He's a
sector
long
from
way on pole
Hadjar.
so far this year. There's the first bit of traffic, his teammate who keeps nicely out
कांड
of
में
the way. He's already got
करता
past
रहता.
Verstappen as
चल
well.
मैं आता
Now
मैं
he
भी
should be
stream
okay
करने
all the way
जल्दी.
down
करेगा
the
चलेगा
Raffles
bro.
Boulevards.
I will up stream.
I bet he wishes that Oscar Piastri was ahead of him a bit because he'd be picking up
Bayman
a nice toe here at the moment,
37.8.
but no one to help him out, and he's 2 tenths
Leclerc
down in the
with a good
first
sector 1, decent sector 1 I would say. Still 200 slower than
with his tyres on the outlap.
Oscar.
Will he get
Sorry,
the dividend
Norris.
now?
Love you,
in the
bhai.
final
Love you,
two
mere bhai.
sectors?
We saw it earlier with Kimi
Enjoy your stream, bhai.
Antonelli acing the middle sector when
Let's
he
go,
had
let's
more
go.
life left in his tyres after a first sector that wasn't quite so quick.
Russell, a good sector
we'll watch
1.
Norris will watch Charles Leclerc on his way down towards turn 7.
Again a good
as
sector
we
1.
make our way now with Lando Norris
26.4.
out to turn 13 and across the Esplanade past the
Antonelli a good
one of the
sector
big
1,
tourist attractions here
26.482.
in Singapore, but he hasn't got time to see that, and he's remaining 2 tenths off the pace.
Personal best for Norris in this part of qualifying.
Norris 2 tenths
So
down
if he's kept
after
those
sector
tyres
2
well,
from Russell.
he'll get some dividend in the last few corners. And he needs
Norris
he's got to
still
throw
fifth
caution
fastest?
to the wind now. He's just got to pin it like Russell did.
Isaac Hadjar and Charles Leclerc.
Norris going for
matching
back-to-back
Lando Norris
laps.
in the first sector on their laps. Antonelli goes a couple of tenths faster. Norris to the line stays 5th fastest.
Norris only 5th fastest
only
and still goes for
Lando
the lap.
Norris, and that will be a big disappointment for him. He can't out-qualify his
Let's
teammate.
go, let's
and
go.
there are others that are
Piastri,
queuing up to
decent
make his
sector
night
1.
even worse, and one of them could be Charles Leclerc. Double pole sitter here, giving it absolutely everything. The man on provisional pole is George Russell.
Max, a good sector 1. Let's go, Max. Let's go. Let's go.
This is the corner.
Let's go. A good
Crashed
sector 1
out
from Max.
In Q2, and Leclerc, no problems there, goes very close to the wall, but gets away with it out of turn 17. It's ragged, but is it fast from Leclerc? Not enough. 7th fastest.
Russell faster than anybody in the middle sector of this lap as well. So he's once again showing front row pole position pace.
George Russell round the final corners, led Q2 in Canada, took pole, led Q2 in Singapore, is on provisional pole and has gone faster. Max Verstappen needs 2 tenths to take a first pole in Singapore. Here comes Kimi Antonelli round the final corner, stays on the second
Max is still down
behind Oscar Piastri, and Max Verstappen making his way towards turn 10. Well, Lewis Hamilton goes very close to the wall on the exit of turn 14. Big stopping zone coming Hamilton's way now into turn 16 as we watch him and Verstappen, who's going across the Anderson Bridge in a blur at round about 100 miles an hour. Hamilton round the final 2 corners. Can he out-qualify his teammate Charles Leclerc? Yes, but doesn't go any further than P6.
Max still goes.
Hamilton, Verstappen, I should say, is within touching distance if he can produce one of those Max Verstappen final sectors.
He is a little bit of traffic here, but that will get out of
Russell
the way.
Pole.
And again, a man who just needs to carry so much speed through that final chicane and pitch it into the last corner. He's backed off.
He has backed off. He doesn't believe he can do it. And as he backs off, the celebrations can start for George Russell. 4 different pole sitters in 4 years here in Singapore. You'd have thought Toto Wolff would be smiling a bit more. It's George Russell on pole for the Singapore Grand Prix. Mercedes have come good.
What a performance by George.
Saturday night.
That was a cracking 2 laps, wasn't it, from George Russell? Built
Crazy lap
and
from
delivered
George.
it when he needed to, when it really matters.
That's it, mate. Well done. Pole position. Superb job.
Yeah, nice job.
Bro.
What's Toto Wolff thinking? Yeah,
you're right. He wasn't as excited as I thought he would look.
Yeah, well, he hasn't signed up for next season yet. Maybe he's thinking, damn, that might make the contract negotiations a little more tricky. What is it George Russell's looking for to stay at Mercedes? What is it Toto Wolff is prepared to offer? If he goes on to win the race, well, those negotiations might just get a little more advantageous for the driver. But Russell and Verstappen on the front row, what a prospect for tomorrow night.
Yeah, you can thank your mate for that.
I love PT.
And I think Verstappen, with that answer, might feel that there was a bit of time left out there.
Thank you, mate, for that. Does he think he's been blocked somewhere?
Possibly.
I don't know why Max didn't come in the pit lane, because he abandoned coming out of the final chicane.
Didn't have that much more than that, I don't think. So, well done.
Is McLaren
Why didn't Max
their
say
superior tyre wear pays dividends in what could be a one-stop race tomorrow? Or McLaren just realising that others might be better suited here in Singapore?
But they can't control the race unless there's some drama on the first lap. McLaren can't control the pace of the race tomorrow. That's going to be controlled by Russell and Verstappen out front to a pace that suits them and their tyre usage around this very tight track.
Out of his car leaps George Russell, a 7th career pole position and a 2nd pole in 2025. And finally, Toto Wolff is smiling. I'm not sure who he's FaceTiming, but he's definitely smiling there. Ollie Behrman, we also mentioned, out-qualifying Fernando Alonso on his debut here in Singapore. Isaac Hadjar, P8. Hamilton ahead of Leclerc. Norris down in P5. He was about 4/10 off the pole time of George Russell, which with a 1:29.158 is a new all-time best lap record here in Singapore, beating Lando Norris's lap record from this time last year. 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon for the Singapore Grand Prix in the UK. And George Russell on pole, Max Verstappen on 2nd, and Oscar Piastri queuing up in 3rd, the championship leader.
Yeah, you can thank your mate for that, Gianpiero Lambiase said. I'm intrigued by that.
Yeah, did someone block him? Who was his mate out there tonight? We'll find out in a minute when the drivers start speaking a little bit more. I wonder, was Lando Norris in and around Max Verstappen out on the track? That would be his mate.
We'll find out. Max has got many mates, and one of them appeared to have been out on the track, but maybe not. Maybe he was somewhere else. So Lewis then on those scrub tyres at the end, but he still out-qualifies Charles Leclerc, his teammate. But they're a long way off pole, aren't they?
Yeah.
Ferrari. It's been a tricky weekend for them.
I think they just are where they are at the moment, Ferrari. That might be what they felt was their best here tonight. I think McLaren will be very disappointed that they weren't a lot closer to it. But I think as the weekend has gone on, and I know it started in a scruffy way for George Russell and for Kimi Antonelli on the Friday, as the weekend's gone on.
Thank you so much for joining in. Bye-bye.
Have a good day. A real prospect here, and it is no